Hey everyone, and welcome back to Disney Song Statistics. This one's called Part 3, Tempos and Meters. And another quick reminder that the data spreadsheet and charts we're going to see in this video are available at tonaltrends.com proper if you want to take a look. Furthermore, here's another bubble telling you where to go if you want to skip straight to the data presentation. Otherwise, let's start with some exposition. Okay, first off, I found 93 unique tempos in 70 songs, ranging from 40 beats per minute to 272 beats per minute. All rounded to even numbers. There were plenty of time signatures as well, ranging from 2/2 cut time to 12/8 compound meter. There was even a 5/4 in the study, which is kind of fun. Somewhat problematic, though, was that sometimes the tempos would waver quite a bit. And so for those, I took an average over time using my tempo device, along with my best guesstimations. These figures couldn't be like 100% accurate, but hey, sometimes it's hard to quantify or to catch these free-ranging beats. Meters, on the other hand, or time signatures, these were not that hard to wrangle since they were all written out in the sheet music I got, plain to see. Additionally, these meters don't change based on wavy tempos. They change based on beats, and beats are hard to miss. The only slightly tricky thing with meters is that it can sometimes be subjective what meter you're in based on how you subdivide those hard to miss beats, or by just how a composer or transcriber feels like writing them down. Speed can also be a factor, so basically the slower a song gets, the easier it is to start using more beats and fewer subdivisions. And likewise, the faster your music gets, the more it wants to break down into fewer beats and more subdivisions, like 8th and 16th notes and whatnot. But yeah, most of the time people agree, but for the times people don't, the closest you can get is when like 30 people would use one meter over another and only like 2 people would go for another one. Then it's fair to just go with the majority. Okay, so finding BPM averages can play tricks on you, as can meter subjectivity. But there's one more thing, swing or swung eighth notes. These guys have been known to confuse the internal subdividers of many a musician. Because the thing with swing is that anytime you see it written out or hear people count it, they use a simple 4/4 meter. But in reality, it sounds like it's in a compound 12/8 meter using triplets. And what's happening here is that players convert the duples to a triplet feel by ear. I'm not 100% sure how it happened this way, but it's probably just that since swing tunes don't really use the middle triplet all that often, we use the 4/4 time signature to save time and ink. But yeah, whatever happened, that's the way it is. But don't worry too much, because to help out with this anomaly, I found some ways to incorporate swung meters into the charts, which we will look at right now. Okay, alright, tempos first. So the blue line represents all of our tempos, ranging from 40 BPMs up to 272 BPMs. And as promised, I got my little red line here too, representing the 14 of our 93 tempos that were swung. And just so you're not too confused, these red ones on the right, they're blue underneath too. It's just that the red's on top, the way the computer presents it. And I mean, aren't we all a little blue underneath? Anyways, starting out here, we have our lowest placed tempo of 40 beats per minute from the song Someday My Prince Will Come. And yes, a tempo this crazy slow is possible here because while the meter is 3/4 time, the beat itself is governed by the measure and not the quarter notes. They call this counting it in one. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da. And again, at these outer limits, it can be subjective, how exactly you count it. I'm just saying that most people would probably count it in 1, but if somebody wanted to count the beats in 3, that'd be fine too. Okay, next we got our first spike made up of 60 and 62 beats per minute, and another more trapezoid spike for 68 to 70 BPMs, then just one solitary little 76 BPM tempo from Can You Feel the Love Tonight in an otherwise vacant 72 to 80 BPM range. Our next little trapezoid is from 82 to 84 BPMs. And then we start our primary camel hump of tempos. So yeah, from 88 BPMs to 126 BPMs, we have a streak where every tempo has at least one instance. And further up the mountain, we see that everything from 100 to 116 BPMs has at least 2 instances. And our top tier of 3 tempo instances is standing tall from 106 to 116 BPMs. So yeah, if you're the type that writes songs, you could do worse than setting your beat machine or whatever it is you got to one of these tempos and just, having at it. Okay, and beyond tier 3, we have four instance tempo spikes recorded at 96, 102, 112, and don't forget about 60 BPMs way back here. And then the grand spike of Poseidon's spiky thing is here at 106 beats per minute. Okay, moving on after the hump, a spike at 130, and then we have ourselves a nice healthy suburb of tempos from 134 to 172 BPMs with a minor gap from 154 to 158, and then 150 BPMs as well as 172 BPMs are kicking some butt out here with 2 apiece. Then we got some farmhouses out here at 168, 196, and 210 beats per minute. And then it's no man's land for a while until these 2 little blips at 250 and 272 BPMs. And yeah, let me explain about these last 2 tempos. They're what I'm going to call novelty tempos because they originated from more regular tempos that were sped up for the fun of it later in the song. And they just don't really stand out on, stand on their own when taken out of the context of the song they came from. These 2 particular tempos were from the song Everybody Wants to Be a Cat, which originally establishes itself at 124 beats per minute, and then later it speeds it up twice as fast to 250, and then even later to an over-the-top 272. Because like they're cats, and it's like, round. And yeah, it's not just that song either. One of these here 210 BPMs is also a sped up novelty tempo from the song Spoonful of Sugar. It's like the one, if you've seen that movie, when it's like all the toys are spazzing out and that closet's eating that one kid. Furthermore, this guy right here, this 186 BPM tempo, is a novelty sped up tempo from a song from the same movie, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And yeah, incidentally, all these speed ups seem to be happening in songs written in the 1960s. So, that means, that's right, means that Mary Poppins is really a bunch of cats in a human suit. But yeah, last, let's go back to this 210 spike, all out here on its own. Now, he may have seemed conspicuous until you realize that cut in half, 210, is 105, and 105 rounded to even is 106, and 106 was our survey's most common tempo. So yeah, did I just blow your mind, or what? Man, oh man, it's finding this kind of synchronistic voodoo that really just keeps me going with all this song statistics vlog stuff. Of course, it's also this kind of thing that keeps me going back to my astrologer, Tim, week after week, who also specializes in palm readings for guitar players. He'll read your calluses and stuff and have you shake a guitar full of picks over your head and tell you the future based on where they all land on the floor. I'm just kidding. I don't have an astrologer named Tim. Okay, now for a treat, let's compare this chart with the chart from one of my earlier stats videos that I did based on the Rolling Stone 500 study. Okay, here it is. And what we see is a very similar shape. Some early spikes, then the mountain range, which fades into our suburbs and farmland. Okay, well, now let's superimpose the 2 charts. Ooh. Man, you have no idea how long it took me to figure out how to do that. But yeah, while you can see that some spikes matched up, like here, here, and here, and some didn't, like here, here, and here, the main takeaway is that in general, Disney tempo spikes fall generally behind the spikes found for popular music as decided by Rolling Stone. Or basically, Disney has no punk rock or James Brown, so it's slower overall. And that's just effing science right there, man. Okay, I'm not going to get down any more nitty-gritty with it than that, but all the data is at the site, so you can if you want. Okay, on to the second portion of the video, the meters chart. So we got our time signatures starting at the top, and then instances of swing and songs using multiple meters down here on the bottom. We also have meters separated by unique instances per song and repeated meters for when tempos changed. Okay, so 4/4 time, or common time wins. No surprises there. I mean, that's why it's called common time in the first place, right? Cut time, or 2/2 time, comes in second, and then 3/4 time is a distant third. Then we have 2/4, 6/8, and 12/8 time in a virtual tie. Not for last place, though, because we got 5/4 time making an appearance as well. All right, let's stir up some controversy. So, while cut time came in a technical second place, it must be pointed out that when you consider that 2/4 time is basically the same thing as cut time, I mean, the only real difference between the 2 meters is what composers like to write in aesthetically. Anyways, when you consider this, then cut time is actually in first place. Like here, I'll show you. Okay, I'll just take the bar out of the 2/4 column and put it in the 2/2 column, and bam, we have our come from behind winner. But wait, not so fast, says 4/4 time. That's not fair, because cut time had to cheat by counting tempo change doubles. And then cut time is like, well, let's make a 3/5 compromise and draw a Mason-Dixon line. And 4/4 is like, no way, and then there's a civil war, and a bunch of tempos die, but at least the staves are free. Wait, what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, tempo changes. So, as you can see, at an average of 60% of the time, cut time really likes to switch tempos. 4/4 and swung tempos like to slow it down and speed it up a healthy amount. All the while, meters that can be divided by threes, like 3/4, 6/8, and 12/8, are much less likely to switch tempos. So, that's kind of intriguing. As far as multiple meters go, the Disney songs in this study used more than 1 meter about 9% of the time, which is above the national average, I'm sure. Okay, let's close out this video by mentioning just a couple of my favorite toe tapping types. Okay, first, the slowy speedies, or the faster and faster, or sometimes slower and slower technique. So one piece of music we already mentioned that does this is the You Can Fly melody from Peter Pan. But also the songs I'm Wishing from Snow White, Winnie the Pooh, and When You Wish Upon a Star also all had gradual tempo fluctuations greater than just a few BPMs. And yeah, just like the novelty tempo speed-ups from the 60s, we don't really see any of these grander fluctuating tempos anytime after 1964. See, I'm telling you, I mean, people just don't do these laffy-taffy tempo stretchies in songwriting as much anymore. Probably in part because of today's loop-based, on-a-grid computer production, which doesn't really lend itself to tempo tinkering of this type. And one more thing with this. So if you're not high on catnip, or high flying above London on pixie dust, there's one more, subtler option called poco più mosso, or just a little bit more motion. We find an example of this in the middle of the song Beauty and the Beast, where just a 6 BPM tempo boost gets those unexpected lovers sweeping the dance floor like they didn't know they could. Okay, novelty speed-ups, Laffy-Taffy stretchies, and poco più mosso. Next, let me gush a little bit about the more unique tempos found in this study. So probably my favorite is one Alan Menken selected for his song Part of Your World. See, this rhythmic palette is slow enough to comfortably and covertly accommodate both a triple and quadruple subdivision of the beat. So it's it starts in quadruplets, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Don't just love the way that the music flows between the two feels. It's like it deserves its whole own meter called Menken time or something like that. It's expert. Also, I got to give a shout out to the 5/4 complex meter from the end credits, where it's da 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 1 2 3 4 5. It's the epitome of a unique meter in that it was only found once. And it might even be the only complex meter in a Disney song. I haven't come across any other complex meters in the world of Disney. So if you spot one, please let me know. Next, real quick, we got the category of the change everything tempos. So sometimes you're in the middle of a song and you figure, what the hey, why not give the beat a complete makeover by changing the tempo and the meter? Examples of this technique are to be found in there's the song True Love's Kiss, it starts out, it's I've been dreaming of a 1 2 3 4, and then the birdies come in, and then it's and it switches to 3, I've been 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Oh, also, okay, Seize the Day from the Newsies. It's like, it starts with this march. It's like 1, 2, and 1, 2, slow marching 2. And then it just picks it up like right off the floor. And it's like starts slinging papers this way and that. Do ba da da do do da da. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And it's like 16th notes. It's great. Next, we find this in one of our songs with a slowy speedy as well. Winnie the Pooh. You know, it's like, deep in the 100, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this was just duples, you know. A donkey named Eeyore, 1, 2, 2. And did it. But there's even a little swing in there too. Tiddly pop pa. But anyways, last, perhaps even more crafty than these change everything song twists, is when the meter changes without the tempo changing. I'll call these same switcher tempos. And yeah, there's nothing so slick as changing your song's rhythmic structure without people even noticing. So yeah, like for example, going back to the end credits, they keep that same 5/4 tempo but completely switch the meter. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. Which is actually more like a 6/4, you know, because it's like da 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 da. But yeah, that's meter subjectivity for you. But yeah, you can also do it where you merely chop out a beat or two here or there, quickly recovering back to the same meter. Like in the Toy Story song, When She Loved Me. You know, in the bridge, they're like, so the years went by, I stayed the same, only 2. But she began to drift away, and still I waited for the day, then only 2. When she'd say, I will always love you. Next, for my favorite of these, you can even keep the same tempo, but switch the tuplet, like in A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, when it switches from duples to triples without the metronome budging at all. Like here, let's not mess around here. I'm just going to set my metronome to 60. I think it's around 60. But anyway, it's like, a dream is a wish, and duples, and 1, 2. But then, you know, it switches to like, you know, dream is a 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and then it's like it's like in triplet. So anyways, same switchers. They're super fun. Okay, well, that's it for this one, but I'll see you at the next video in this series called Disney Song Statistics Part 4, Song Forms for Book and Film. Thanks so much for watching this far, and please make sure to click us a like on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, join the mailing list, and tell all your friends about these songwriting and music theory videos at tonaltrends.com. Peace, y'all.